Jay.
How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good.
How's it going? Let's talk about teams, obviously. It seems like a renewed commitment, obviously a lot more focus on it during the practices that we're seeing. From your perspective, do you feel like that's paying off?
I do. I think there's a big difference in approach this year, and a lot of that being in terms of attitude, mindset. Want guys that want to be on special teams, that have the desire to play on special teams and help the team as a whole. And I think that's just being positive, bringing energy, been a huge difference.
It also looks like they got some starters out there as far as that goes. I mean, does that make a big difference as far as the importance that the head coach is putting on it?
100%. We talk about, our best players being our best leaders. And this kind of goes hand in hand with that. Special teams isn't always the shiniest, coolest thing, and obviously there's a time and a place to have your top guys out there. And there's special teams plays that are probably more important than others sometimes. And coaches decide that. But, punt, kickoff, those are two big special teams plays and can, over the course of a game, change the outcome. So,
how much kind of did you have your eye on a situation like this year when you decided to come here? It seems like a lot of things are aligning for this team.
Yeah, man. I think just as a whole, taking the steps from last year to this year, and everybody, not just special teams, there's a lot of maturing. Relationships are growing, brotherhood's growing, all that stuff, and I think it all goes hand in hand to having a good special teams as well.
Coach Diaco, he's kind of stepped to the forefront. I don't know how much we knew about him before, but we hear him and see him every day now. So what kind of coach is he?
I love him. I don't think there's a more energetic guy in our building. Brings life to our meetings, and guys are excited to come to special teams meetings. They're excited to play special teams. I think that's a big deal. The energy that he brings and the positivity that he brings, and just the way he's able to articulate that, guys want to play for him. So I've really enjoyed him. I think he's a great coach. Super fun to be around, and there's kind of, like I said, positive. It's very positive.
I've looked at that video many times, the end of the Florida State game last year, season opener. You guys all had a look of shock, right?
Me too.
Yeah. In those games, can you speak to me about how special teams make such a big difference, hidden yardage and all those things that you guys talk about?
Yeah. Looking back on last year, just about every game that we lost. Florida State, Tennessee, A&M probably had some too, and Georgia. There's major issues on special teams all the way around, and I think back to the Georgia game. If it wasn't for probably one or two different plays, we're within 2-score game. That changes that game. Tennessee, same thing, and Florida State, obviously. So obviously, right there is huge emphasis and huge importance, and I think that's exactly why we got to be better with it this year.
Aaron Anderson's a new face on this team. What have you kind of seen from him on the return game?
Super athletic, slippery, quick speed, tight spaces, all that stuff. He's on my SWAT team, and I think he's done a really good job at kind of acclimating here, settling in. Great teammate, good person, all that.
You kind of elaborate on that, because he looks like a guy who's going to have a role in a lot of different spots. What kind of guy is he as far as being dependable? And
so Coach Kelly has a lot of stuff that he asks us to do on a daily basis. We have wellness questionnaires, and we take supplements. You name it, we do it. You probably heard about it, but dude shows up on time. That's like the price of admission. Just doing these small things right. Guy you can talk to, go up to in the locker room, have a conversation with. How you doing, man? How's your day going? Being able to punt to him during practice. We've talked about reading punts. Ball turns over, probably going to drive you back a little farther. ball doesn't turn over and it's just spinning with the tail kind of dragging. That ball's probably going to go away from you. Stuff like that. Wants to learn. He wants to be a good returner. He wants to be a good player for us. So I think he has a desire to just be great. So.
Specialists have a unique ability to see the team differently than the team
Mm-hmm.
sometimes sees them. How do you see this team?
Maturing. We're not where we need to be yet. I think the progression we've made from day one to now is great. Got to keep doing that, keep making improvements, keep taking steps. I think leadership is a big thing for us as a whole. There's still some question marks there, and I think it's helping itself along the way. It's showing itself, but it's got to continue to get better. And I think that kind of happens naturally throughout camp. Same way with our team getting our identity. The leadership. When it needs to be shown, it's going to be shown. And that's how it's going to happen naturally, I guess. So.
How does the continuity between long snapper, you at punter, and then place kicker from a year ago till now make you guys that much better?
I think all three of us, we were relatively good friends last year. Our relationship is a million miles since then. I think we started hitting field goal operations back in May or June together. I think by July we were in midseason form. And we didn't have that the year before. Didn't do that year before. We should have. But I think that kind of comes with growing relationships and, kind of building trust and, how good do you really want to be? And I think that also has a lack of kind of leadership for me. I definitely we could have done that, So I kind of felt compelled that, we need to get out there and kind of get a head start. And our relationship from that, I think, is great. It's growing, doing good.
This will be a career first for me, but the deep snapper.
Yeah.
Rarely do you see him down making the tackle as well, but
Yeah.
he's that kind of guy, I guess. What do you see in Slade, right?
Yep.
That kind of sets him apart.
Yeah. I think he's a guy. The dude likes attention, and he wants to be on a play. He wants to help the team. All jokes aside, obviously he's a terrific long snapper. Really good hitting spots, and athletic enough to run down the field. Probably more athletic and quicker than most of your long snappers. So being in on a play is huge for him, and a lot of places may block him, or they're just going to go ahead and mark him out and say he's getting blocked somewhere down the field. Like, we're counting on him to be down there because that's the expectation, because he's good enough to do that. So.
I think we asked you this last year. We had a chance, but now that Brian Kelly's been here for over a year, have you noticed any differences from him in Baton Rouge versus the coach that you had in South Bend?
He's a lot looser. I've always thought he was a great man, good person, and he's always been good to me. But it's so easy to talk to him, and he'll tell you what he's been doing, ask you what you've been doing, and I think he's really enjoyed being in Louisiana, from what I can tell, and he's taken up some new stuff. And my understanding is he likes to fish now, try to when he can. So that's kind of funny, but I think it's a little brighter out here, not a lot more sunshine, so kind of brings some happiness.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks.